Hi all, this is Menas. A very good and a wonderful day to the ones who are watching the video currently. So, I'm going to speak about addiction and what are the causes of addiction, effects on addiction, and also how do we overcome from addiction on the course of this video. So, let's get started. Addiction is a complex condition, a brain disease that is manifested by compulsive substance or behavioral change despite its harmful consequence. People with addiction tend to lose control over their actions. They crave and seek out drugs, alcohols, or also some substance no matter what the cost is, even at the risk of losing relationships and also losing their jobs. So, this brain disorder characterized by compulsive engagement is what called as addiction. And let's see what really is the addiction cycle meant by, which makes us understand why we are getting addicted to a particular substance or a behavioral change without ourselves knowing about it. So, this is called as an emotional trigger which happens inside of us that we started to become frustrated about something and we become sad, we feel shame, and there is a fear of something, we feel out of the group, there is grief inside our own body, our heart is feeling depressed, there are envy, and we are doubting ourselves also, and these are some emotional triggers which happens into our body, so that starts to follow on into a thing called craving starts because of these emotions which we are facing, and we really need a reward that comes within us. We want to feel that happiness inside us which we have lost, so the craving starts, and we get addicted into a substance like drugs or alcohol or some behavioral change, and it becomes a ritual. When it becomes a ritual, we start to do out of our control, and it becomes a habit, and we do it all of a sudden every time we start to do it. Without it we cannot be, it becomes like that. So the next is like substance abuse and addictive behaviors also starts. We feel addicted to that particular thing. Without it we feel, some people without drugs they feel suicidal, and it goes on to that extent that they need treatment, and it sometimes addiction is not just a disorder, it becomes a disease also. Due to this, many people will be feeling guilt about themselves, like why I have born into this earth, and I have done all these nonsense, and I have caused trauma to the society also. So which also leads into the same emotional trigger, which is people feeling sad, bad, feeling despaired, and they are feeling more jealous about somebody, and the loneliness start to take into pace, and the emptiness is there inside, and obviously that goes again into this craving start stuff. So this is the addiction cycle which we are facing without ourselves getting known. Then you start to get addicted to some product or substance or and behavior that you're not able to get away from it, you're not able to stay away from it. You have this lack of self control, that mindfulness goes out of your body, which is really important, and you will be having an increased desire of a particular substance or a behavior. You also start to dismiss how you were, because the whatever behavior you have may be causing some problems in the future also. And also there are some lack of emotional response from you, because you're getting this stimuli inside your brain which is actually going on, and you don't respond to people because you want to speak more, and the listening phase also disrupts in a great extent. Experts say that more than behavioral addiction, substance addictions are in a greater extent, which brings us complications, but so do behavioral addictions also, as for me, because you see that internet and games, you are into that internet and games rather than finding any progress in your life. Daily if you play for some 3 hours or 4 hours is also fine, but when it goes more beyond that, definitely you are getting addicted. But these behavioral addictions can be overcome in a very easy manner, and also it doesn't bring into many complications than substance addictions. But let's speak on this also. So debits, you started to debiting more, you just spend more amount of money without thinking what's in your bank, or you even get loans and you start using your credit cards and don't even care about what you are buying. That is also an addiction. Like it comes into shopping also. And being a workaholic is fine, but when it brings adverse complications into your own life, that is health issues, then definitely work is also a bad addiction. And of course many people are facing relationship issues. It can be anything like love failure or one side love or anything. It also brings in some kind of addiction towards it. And also sex is something which is an urge that every human has, but when it goes beyond a particular point, it definitely disrupts the regular life. And also gambling. I've gone into a casino in Singapore and I found a man who didn't even get up to go to his biological break. Like he really wants to go for a pee, but he couldn't go because he has the urge to get money from the play. And he wants the reward to get into his brain, that it brings the stimulus. And also in response the brain gives its dopamine, and he's feeling the self pleasure. So he doesn't want to go away from the game and do anything of his regular work. And also food and eating is something which is really important for our lives. But when you start to eat more food, even a good thing had in large amounts definitely will lead to something called poison. So, a good food ate in large amounts leads to a poisonous response in our body. Then just imagine about eating a large amount of food. Even if it's a good food, it's bad. Having it in a large amounts, then imagine having bad food in bad amounts, then definitely you're going nuts. And also codependency. This is actually good for people who are like physically challenged, and there are also homemades for the aged people. But still when you become too much dependent on somebody, it also becomes an addiction for that person. Then comes the substance addiction, which is really, really harmful. And it's also very important to know that you can't come out of this addiction very easily. It really takes a very long time to for people to understand and get out of addictions like these, like drugs, alcohol, marijuana, cocaine, or anything, weeds, and some kind of tablets also. So there are many kinds of drugs which are available in the market, and people start to use it without knowing what kind of destruction is happening inside their body, because they want to go into some other world, and they want to escape from the world and go into some other happiness. And this is a self happiness, and it's going to be very, very short lived. Still people get into addictions like these also. It is also said that all these kind of addictions are done when people are getting too lonely. The kind of lonely feeling overcomes themselves, that they get stressed out and go into some kind of depression also. And there are also some kinds of friends who influence to take these things. So this affects the brain in a large way. So how does it affect the brain? You can ask me, because it's fine, right? It's having, you are getting too much of dopamine, and that adrenaline rush is there. You are getting hyperactive, and you're feeling the most highness of your world. You are becoming the most happiest person in the world all of a sudden, and all of these changes are happening inside the brain. But this is due to neurological response to that particular chemical which is going inside your body, and it's not coming out naturally. Just think, something which is not natural, it's not going to last for long. You are inducing these emotions to feel the reward. So I also have a pictorial representation of how addiction takes away from your brain. Like your brain is like this. So it's beautiful, it's healthy, and it has all the natural substances in your body. And what happens to this neural connectors or neurons in your brain? It starts to decrease gradually. It starts to lose its ability to connect to other neurons because it's induced by drugs. When it's not natural, it doesn't need anything, but when you induce the neural connectors to transmit its information from one neuron to another neuron, it automatically starts decreasing, and the craving also increases largely. It increases largely because the neurons are not able to connect to each other naturally, and because of these drugs, your dopamine is started to increase. So that leads to a great emptiness inside your brain, and you become feeling more bad, more into depression, more lonely, and it decreases the quality of your life also. So definitely this addiction is not going to go in one step. It needs something called rehabilitation. There are actually, in your particular point of life, there'll be some time two ways which you have to decide. The one way is going to be addiction, and the other way is going to be the way out of addiction. So it's your chance to prove yourself that you can come out of addiction, which is going to be your greatest reward in life. The one thing you have to start saying to yourself is no, definite no. Because nowadays people are not able to say this one word called no, because people start to think that what others are going to think about me if I start to say no. If I start to say no, there'll be some kind of controversy between me and my friends, or me and my colleagues, or me and my other family relatives. What will happen? But we are not thinking about ourselves. We are not stopping ourselves from a particular thing that's going to be destructive, not now, but definitely it's going to be destructive in a long period of time. So start to say no to others when they are going to tempt you, or inside yourself also it might tempt. Like, I want to do this particular thing, just say no, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do this forever, and start concentrating on something which you really love. In this way you can start to help yourself by saying no. You are just stopping yourself from taking these harmful substances. Be it alcohol, it might be tempting for one time or two time, but definitely when you start to say no for every time when that temptation happens, you can succeed. And also, if you are not able to succeed also, you can give your hands to some other people who really needs, whom you want your help from. So there are five things which you have to do is identify your triggers, what is causing the emotional breakdown, and start to avoid stress. A long term stress or short term also starts to just in a snap of a second, you just go into the particular depression or addiction you were into. And obviously that goes into the back of addiction, and you don't really need it. So start to reach out to people also. Like, there are many rehabilitation centers, there are many psychiatrists, doctors are there. You can start to ask help from each of them, and many experts are also there to treat your depression. You're not alone in this world, people are there to help you. And also, stay busy. You just start to concentrate on things which you really love, and start to help others, because somebody's happiness is a reflection of our own happiness. So if you go to an orphanage and bring out the joy in themselves. Instead of spending money on this drugs and alcohol or smoking, you just go into some orphanage or some other hospital also, where people are really need of your help, in poverty. Many people are there. When you go and help them, that's the reflection of your own happiness. So start, then you can learn about yourself, keep learning about yourself, and keep learning about the surroundings, and just start to concentrate more, and be mindful on your things. Just have a deep breath inside and outside. That really gives a lot of change. So that's all, guys. Your addiction is over. There is a way out, and you were inside a dark room. Now, congratulations, you have come out of it, and you are going to succeed in your own way. The de-addiction process is over. You're going to live a very happy and successful and also a blessed life. Thank you so much. Keep subscribe to my channel to know more about addiction and also on motivational thoughts. Thank you so much.